Hello everybody, it's Non-Scene News here, and today we've gotten a lot of breaking dates today. And the first news we'll be talking about today is coming from Iran and Israel. As probably most of you already know, as of Friday, June 13th of 2025, Israel launched a significant military operation against Iran, escalating the ongoing conflict in the region. And here are the key details. So the Israelis named this preemptive strike operation as Rising Lion. It targeted over 100 sites within Iran, including nuclear facilities, military installations, and air defense systems of the Iranian armed forces. So this operation was carried out by over 200 Israeli Air Force jets, supported by Mossad-led sabotage operations from within Iran. Iran's armed forces and generals were killed within the Israeli preemptive strike operation, like Hossein Salami, the head of Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, Mohammad Bagheri, the chief of the staff of Iran's armed forces, and multiple nuclear scientists at the head of Iran's nuclear program, and multiple senior military commanders were killed with Israel's preemptive strike operation. So the operation aimed to neutralize threats from Iran's advancing nuclear program, Israel reported, and Iran declared that it will respond very harshly and decisively, and we'll talk about that a bit later in the episode. But the US position, while informed, the United States did not participate and express concerns over the escalating regional instability, but according to the United States and especially Donald Trump and the US had no involvement in the operation of Israel's preemptive strike, which Iran denies. So let's just go a bit more deeper on what exactly was struck by the Israeli preemptive strike. And probably one of the biggest things that was struck was obviously Iran's nuclear program capabilities and the nuclear facilities around Iran. So more importantly, the primary target was the Nads nuclear enrichment facility right here. So this was a primary target in the operation. This underground facility is central to Iran's uranium enrichment efforts, which Israel has called to Iran to stop. It's a enrichment program that it could potentially develop a nuclear atomic weapon. So Israel, if you can see here in the bottom left corner from the satellite and videos around the region, we can see this nuclear facility in flames and in smoke. But according to the Iranian officials, no radiation leak at the nuclear site has been reported so far. Surveys conducted revealed no radioactive or chemical materials has leaked from the facility, but it seems that a lot of this enrichment facility here has been destroyed or damaged at least, so very big news. And furthermore, besides the Israeli attack on multiple nuclear facilities around Iran, Israel also struck the headquarters of Iran's armed forces, so multiple senior military commanders were killed, like Hossein Salami, the head of Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, Mohammad, the chief of staff of Iran's armed forces, and many multiple other senior military commanders of Iran's armed forces were also killed. And again, nuclear scientists that were head of Iran's nuclear program were also killed. So there was also a lot of radar systems and missile launchers that were destroyed in Israel's preemptive strike, especially in the key city of Iran of Tiberiz here in the mountainous regions here. So you can see videos here in the bottom left corner. We can see Israel striking missile launchers and radar systems around Iran, crippling Iran's capabilities to try and defend itself and try to strike back. So very interesting news. So, the IDF put out a statement following the strikes on Iran, stating that we had no choice. We are operating against an immediate and existential threat. The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, announces the Operation Rising Lion to roll back the Iranian threat. This operation, according to Benjamin Netanyahu, will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. So this is not just a one-time thing. This will be happening in the next couple days. So Israel will be striking Iran in the next couple days. He also claimed, the Israeli Prime Minister, that Iran provided highly enriched uranium, enough for 9 atomic bombs. So this is why Israel decided to launch this huge operation and this huge preemptive strike around Iran to try and cripple Iran's nuclear capabilities and nuclear facilities. So very big news. And obviously, Iran did not take this lightly, and Iran responded shortly after that attack. Because we've just got on news today that Iran first raised the flag of revenge in Tehran. So you can see here in the bottom left corner. Shortly after the attack, Iran raised the flag of revenge, and then shortly after that struck the heart of Israel itself. So Iran launched a huge military operation throughout Israel, targeting key cities like Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. So Iran's missile and drone attack on Israel on June the 14th, 2025. So the assault occurred in the early hours of Saturday, June the 14th. Missile strikes were launched from Tehran, the capital city of Iran, and many other western Iranian cities to key cities in Israel, Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. So explosions were reported in major Israeli cities. The Israeli Defense Forces and the IDF headquarters in central Tel Aviv was reportedly hit by Iranian missiles. At least one person was confirmed dead, and over 30 others were injured. And we've also gotten some breaking news that Iran claims that the commander of the Israeli Navy was killed in the Iranian missile attack on Israel, but yet we've got no confirmation about that right now. At the current time of recording, Iran is claiming that they have just killed the Israeli Navy commander, and obviously by the time of next video, we'll get the confirmation of that. We've also got news that there's been significant damage was reported in central Tel Aviv, with missiles evading air defense systems and hitting military zones. So Iran's justification: Iran labeled the barrage as a declaration of war, retaliating against Israel's early strikes on Iran's nuclear and military infrastructure. The United States has expressed grave concern over the escalation, urging both nations to de-escalate and return to diplomatic negotiations. Neighboring countries, including Jordan and Iraq, have closed their airspace and airlines and have rerouted flights due to safety concerns. So Iran has struck back at Israel, and we haven't gotten too many news about what exactly has been hit in Israel, because the Israeli army has just issued serious warnings against sharing images of damage and locations of impacts. So we've just got this in right now that the Israeli army is now announcing that it will punish anyone in Israel for videoing or sharing any images of the damage and locations of Iranian impacts in Israeli cities and military zones. So very big news. And following this attack, oil prices have reached a huge amount. Oil prices have already risen by 13% to $78 per barrel following the escalation in the Middle East. So obviously, world oil prices have also taken a hit by this huge escalation by Iran and Israel. And furthermore, we've also got news that Donald Trump, the President of the United States, posted a post on X and Truth Social that Iran should make a deal before there is nothing left. So, Very big news. And at the time of the recording on this video, there is a second phase of Iran's nuclear missiles that have just been reported. So, at this current time of recording, I'm just getting this news now that air raids have just been activated in all regions of Israel again for a second round of Iranian strikes on Israel. So again, if you want to get updated on the Middle East conflict, please like and subscribe and click the bell notification to get notified on when I upload. And the next news we'll be talking about today is coming from Russia. So we've got news that Russia and North Korea are going to be launching a direct train service linking the capital city of Russia, Moscow, and the capital city of North Korea, Pyongyang, together in a railway track. So on June the 9th, Russia and North Korea plans to restart a direct passenger train service between Moscow and the North Korean capital, Pyongyang, this month for the first time since 2020. So, Russia and North Korea receive a transcontinental railway link, the world's largest railway route at 10,000 kilometers. So, obviously, this will make it easier, if needed, for North Korea to transport, I don't know, ammunition or military equipment to Russia, with this now direct railway linking the two capitals together. And furthermore, we've also got some news today that Russia has found no valuable tech in captured American Abrams tanks and German-made Leopard tanks. So according to Russia, American and German tanks are overhyped and over-engineered. NATO's Abrams and Leopard tanks captured in Ukraine do not boast any tech breakthroughs, Rostec CEO Sergei told Russian media. According to Russia, there is nothing there that Russian engineers would want to borrow, he noted. So according to Russia, there's no valuable technology that has been found on German Leopard tanks, nor Abrams American tanks as well, according to Russia. And furthermore, the last news we've gotten from Russia today is coming from the Baltic and Kaliningrad region here. So we've got news that Russian bombers and Russian fighter jets were intercepted in the Baltic Sea just today. So Russian Tu-22 M3 bombers and Russian fighter jets like the Su-30 and Su-27 fighter jets of the Russian aerospace forces were intercepted by NATO fighter jets in the Baltic Sea. So you can see here in the bottom left corner, we can see at certain stages of the Russian squadron flight route, the bombers and Russian fighter jets were intercepted by foreign countries, and the countries used F-16 fighter jets to intercept the Russian squadron. So, very interesting news. The next news we've got today is coming from Ukraine. So we've got reports from the UK Ministry of Defence that Russia has officially suffered 1 million combat losses, and I know a lot of the casualties numbers are disputed, so obviously we don't know if this is true, but the United Kingdom is now officially reporting that Russia has suffered 1 million combat losses since 2022. Casualty numbers are still very disputed, and just take this with a pinch of salt. We've also got news today coming from Germany. So we've got news that Germany loses 100,000 industrial jobs. So Germany's ongoing economic crisis has wiped out over 100,000 industrial jobs in a year, with auto sectors losing 45,400 alone, according to EY. So the total industrial workforce fell to 5.46 million, down 1.8%. So since 2019, 217,000 jobs have been lost. EY warns that at least 70,000 industrial jobs in Germany could vanish by the end of the year. So very big news. We've also got some news today coming from NATO. That's the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, announces that Russia now produces in 3 months what NATO makes in a year. According to him, this year Russia will produce 1,500 tanks, 3,000 armored vehicles, and 200 Iskander missile systems. So, very big news. And the next news we've got today is coming from the United Kingdom. So first we've got news that the UK has reached a deal with the EU on Gibraltar. So, the UK, alongside with the government of Gibraltar, reaches a political agreement with the EU, which will protect British sovereignty, UK military autonomy, and secure Gibraltar's economic future. So, the agreement resolves the major unsolved issue from Brexit, avoiding the need for checks on people and goods crossing the Gibraltar-Spain border to support prosperity in the region. And also a note that this agreement also involves Spanish boots on the ground at Gibraltar's only airport, the RAF Gibraltar, as the military airbase will now be hosting commercial flights to EU destinations. So, Gibraltar Airport will now have Spanish military troops on the airport now, as this UK and EU agreement finalizes. So very interesting news. We've also got some news today coming from Indonesia. That Indonesia picks Turkey's Khan for its fighter jet fleet. So Indonesia will buy 48 of the jets worth a total of $10 billion, making it Turkey's biggest arm export ever. So Indonesia will be buying Turkey's Khan 5th generation fighter jet for approximately $10 billion, and will buy 48 of these 5th generation Turkish fighter jets. So the 10-year agreement includes co-production of the 5th generation jet components in Indonesia. We've also got news today that a South Korean KF-16D fighter jet crashes at Elson AFB Alaska Air Base. So, a South Korean Air Force KF-16D fighter jet crashed near the runway at Elson Air Force Base, Alaska today. The two-seat aircraft caught fire upon impact, with both pilots safely ejecting, but hospitalized for evaluation. The jet sustained damage to its nose and the front landing gear. The cause of the crash still remains under investigation. So a South Korean KF-16D fighter jet crashes at Elson Air Base in Alaska. And furthermore, the last news we've got today is coming from the United States. So we've got news that a trade agreement between the United States and China has just been finished. So according to Donald Trump's latest post on Truth Social, Trump said that a trade agreement between the United States and China is ready and awaits final approval at the level of the both leaders of the two countries. So the United States has finalized a deal between the tariff war between the United States and China. And now, according to Donald Trump, it now awaits the signature of Donald Trump, the President of the United States, and the President of China, Xi Jinping. And furthermore, we've also got the news today that Washington, D.C. will host a military parade today to mark the 250th anniversary of the US Army, which will also be coincided with Donald Trump's 79th birthday. So a total of 6,169 soldiers, as well as 128 army tanks and armored personnel carriers and artillery will be at the military parade. So today, Washington DC will be hosting the military parade that marks the 250th anniversary of the US Army. And that's all the news I actually have for you today. I am On-Scene News. I'll try and provide you news that medias around the world do not show you. I do these videos hopefully daily, so consider subscribing and liking. And if you want to get updated on news that I can't fit in this YouTube videos, or news that I simply can't post on YouTube, consider joining the Telegram channel in the link in the description below. Again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.